Hello, I'm John Hawk, the Chief Operations Officer and Executive Director for Nevada State High School. Welcome to Nevada State High School's textbook process tutorial for all students. Use the guide bar at the bottom of the presentation to navigate through the presentation. Go ahead, click the forward button now to begin your presentation. During this tutorial, we will discuss general information about obtaining your college textbooks and getting a 100% refund from Nevada State High School. You will become familiar with finding general textbook information, the pre-approval process, and the post-approval process. As you go through the presentation, you will use a hard copy of the textbook form to identify each section as it is covered. At the end of the presentation, you will take a 5-question quiz. Let's get started. Click to the next slide when you're ready. This first section, we will start off with general information with obtaining college textbooks and getting reimbursed. This includes where to find your important dates and deadlines for both the pre-approval and post-approval process. What you can do in an event of a special situation, purchasing an online access code, and what items are not reimbursed. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Important dates. Obtaining a reimbursement for college textbooks from Nevada State High School requires attention to 2 steps that are very important, and these are dates. First is getting the pre-approved at the beginning of each semester. The second is getting post-approval at the end of each semester. Look and follow these dates. You will be able to find specific dates and deadlines on Moodle, the date card, and the bottom of the actual textbook form. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Special situations happen. There may be occasions where students have special situations that need review. For example, questions about financial assistance, if the bookstore runs out of your required textbook, class requiring materials other than books, for example, might be art supplies and other things, or enrolling in a mid-semester course. Send a help ticket at help.earlycollegenv.com is your best approach to getting assistance and answers in writing. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Online access codes. Some students may take classes that are based online or includes a web component that requires an access code. Access codes are eligible for reimbursement and can be purchased directly from the publisher's website if indicated on your syllabus and must be listed on your textbook form as a separate line item. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Items not reimbursed. There are certain circumstances where a student may not be reimbursed. Things students will not be reimbursed are lost and damaged textbooks, rented textbooks, or books purchased without getting pre-approval. Students will not be reimbursed for purchasing textbooks that Nevada State High School has in stock. Before purchasing, be sure to get pre-approval to avoid having your purchase denied. Textbooks will not be reimbursed for dropped classes either. Now that you have a general overview of textbook information, we'll start going over the pre-approval process. Click to the next slide when you're ready. Okay, now buckle up. Here are some items needed for the pre-approval process. You will need 3 documents to receive pre-approval from Nevada State High School. Your scheduled printout from CSN, GBC, or any other college that you attend with Nevada State High School approval. Your eFollett.com printout, and a completed textbook form. We will be going over how to get all 3 of these required documents. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Items needed. First, get your schedule printout for all your college classes. Here's an example by logging into your MyCSN account, and it's similar for MyGBC. Once you're logged in, you will see a drop-down menu under the Academics module. Drop this menu down by clicking Other Academics. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Here's a quick one. Once you have the drop-down menu open, select Class Schedule. Click to the next slide when you are ready. All right, let's move along locating this information for class schedule. Select the term that you are entering. For example, fall 2014. Once your schedule appears, you will need to print this page. Keep this page open as you will need it for the next step. This will be your schedule printout and the first item that you'll need for pre-approval. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Finding those college textbooks. Now that your scheduled printout is in front of you, we will be finding your college textbooks. Scroll to the bottom of the page that you just printed. At the bottom left, there will be a yellow Buy Books button. Press this button to proceed. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Once you press the Buy Books button, you will be directed to the efollett.com page. Now mind you, this may change in the future, but for this presentation, this works. You will need to print this and repeat this process for all institutions that you're enrolled. This is your eFollett printout and is the second item that you need for pre-approval. One more document to go. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Completing the textbook form. Now that you have your schedule printout and eFollett.com printout in front of you, we're going to learn how to complete the textbook form. But first, we must go over where you can find it. This can be found under Moodle. That's our online portal. Under the main menu on the left-hand side, click to the textbook process link, and you'll be directed on the steps to follow. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Once you click the textbook process link, you will be directed to a page that contains a link to the textbook form. This will generate a PDF that you can print. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Okay, let's complete that textbook form. This is what a blank textbook form looks like. For this portion of the presentation, you will use a hard copy of the textbook form to identify each section as it is covered. Click to the next slide when you are ready. All right, take a look at that textbook form. The top portion of your textbook form will have space for you to put your name and your Nietzsche number and your phone number for contact. Here's your assignment right now. Highlight or circle this information on your textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Completing the textbook form. The top right section of this form is where you need to put your parents' or legal guardian's full names and address. Money orders go directly to the parents. Students over the age of 18 can request the reimbursement to be made out to them directly by logging into help.earlycollegenv.com, and the school will validate your age. Here's your assignment. Highlight or circle this information on your textbook form right now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Okay, digging a little deeper into the textbook form. The middle section is where you place the names of the courses and the textbooks. You will need to refer to your efollow.com printout for the exact names of the textbooks for the courses you are taking this semester. Here's your assignment. Highlight or circle the middle section of your textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. All right, the next few slides will be some quick hits on this textbook form. Please reference the correct semester for which you are requesting textbooks. Your assignment direction here is to circle the correct semester you are enrolling in currently. Click to the next slide when you are ready. The first column in the middle section asks for your course name. This can be found on your efollow.com printout. Your assignment. Use Math 124 as an example and write it under the course name column on your hard copy of the textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. The second column in the middle section asks for your course name instructor. This also can be found on your efollow.com printout. Your assignment here is to use Dr. Doe as an example and write it under the instructor column on your hard copy of the textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Skip the third column and move on to the fourth column. This column in the middle section asks for the book title. This is your efollow.com printout. Feel free to abbreviate the longer words to fit them into the column. Your assignment direction here is use college algebra as an example and write it under the book title on your hard copy of the textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Go through your efollow.com printout for all institutions and make sure you have all your textbook titles written on the form. Leave the 4 right columns blank at this time. Click to the next slide when you're ready. Once you have listed all your textbooks in the middle section, you will need to sign the first line on the bottom left of the textbook form. Your assignment direction here is circle this section on your hard copy of the textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. This is a pretty neat slide. I like how the pictures lay it all out for you. You have now completed the learning how to fill out your textbook form. You should have these 3 printouts ready to submit and go through the pre-approval process. This includes your textbook form, your efollow.com printout, and your schedule printout. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Okay, steps for pre-approval. Check Moodle, the school's online portal, for pre-approval dates, times, and locations. During checkout, you will turn in 3 printouts and you will receive the books that Nevada State High School has available and receive pre-approval to purchase the books that are not in stock. Books available will be given to first come, first served basis. So the sooner you come in, the better chance you have for getting all your books from Nevada State High School and not having to purchase any books. Be prepared for long lines if you wait for the last few days. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Let's take a look at those steps for pre-approval. Once you complete the pre-approval process, your form will look something like this. Click to the next slide when you are ready. All right, let's take a look a little deeper. If you still need books that were unavailable to borrow through Nevada State High School, you will need to purchase them. You can do this directly from efollett.com for CSN or GBC. You can also go through any of the CSN bookstores to make the purchases in person. Keep your original receipts for anything you purchase with pre-approval and submit with the textbook form at the end of the semester. Reminder here, the school must have original receipts at the end of the semester. Now that you're familiar with the pre-approval process, we will go over the reimbursement process. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Documents needed for reimbursement include the original stamped and signed textbook form, all textbooks borrowed and purchased, all receipts for purchased textbooks, and an updated schedule printout for all institutions enrolled. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Reimbursement through the post-approval process. At the end of the semester, during posted times, you can bring in all required original receipts, original textbook form, all books, an updated copy of your scheduled printout. Checks are processed to students' parents and/or guardians and will be distributed on the 25th of the following month. Click to the next slide when you are ready. This is what the textbook form looks like at the end of the post-approval process. Once you submit all your forms and books, you'll receive an amount on the form and a signature on the bottom right section of the textbook form. Your assignment here is to circle this section on your hard copy of the textbook form now. Click to the next slide when you are ready. Nice job. You now know what to do to complete the textbook process. You've learned valuable information related to the general textbook information, the pre-approval process, and the post-approval process. Feel free to refer back to this video as you need it for a refresher, or submit a help ticket at help.earlycollegenv.com. Nevada State High School is very excited to see you transition into college. Knowing the process of how to get textbooks for your college classes takes you one step further to being college ready. Good luck in your classes this semester. And remember, Nevada State High School is here to support you. Click to the next slide when you are ready. All right, some quiz directions. Let's go through a couple of things before you begin your 5-question quiz, including after answering each question, click the Next button. After answering all the questions from the quiz, click the Submit All button. You will have 2 opportunities to take and pass the quiz with an 85% or better. Be careful. Some questions will calculate negative points for answering the question incorrectly. Take your time and read each question carefully. Select your answer and click to the Next button when you are ready to begin, or the Back button to go back to a previous question. Remember, click the Submit All button when you're ready to give your final submission for your entire quiz. Go ahead, click to the next slide when you are ready.